folks, this is all the fruit. I'm in Heidelberg, Germany, and this tree here in the middle is a black walnut, Juglans nigra from North America. We have the first days of June, so usually not the perfect time to harvest walnuts. I mean, most walnut species in the northern hemisphere, they ripen around September, October. And the black walnut is actually not really being used for its seeds in Europe. As far as I know, in North America, they use it for the seeds from time to time. North America is where the plant comes from, like Eastern North America, East Coast all the way to Texas. But in Europe, usually we use it either as a beautiful ornamental in the parks or for timber in the forests. About 40 kilometers away from here, there are huge black walnut forests which were planted and which are being used for timber. Well, in Europe and in most of the world, the most widely used walnut species for food is Juglans regia, the Persian walnut. As I said, in North America they use the black walnut a little bit. Yeah, so the Persian walnut, just like the black walnut, ripens in autumn, September, October, maybe November. And the thing about the Persian walnut is, after the first rain, once the nuts are ripened and once the green shell around the hard seed is open, you need one strong rain, and after that you can forget about the nuts. They will rot and get moldy. Well, so since last October, November, we've had a lot of rains. Like, those nuts have been ripe for about, were ripe 8 months ago. I can see the young nuts, which are really small. They're about the size of small hazelnuts right now. And if you look underneath the tree, you will see the male inflorescences. That means those nuts were just pollinated a couple weeks ago. Unfortunately, the tree is a little bit too tall to show you the nuts on the tree, but here is one aborted little nut, which was either not pollinated or something else, or aborted for some other reason. Let's see if we can find. Yeah, here is a low branch with a few male inflorescences. Here is another low branch, with a few green walnuts. You can still see the stigmata, so those nuts are really not fit to be harvested and be eaten as ripe walnuts. But when you look on the ground, you will still find the walnuts from last year. That's what they look like on the inside, and that's what they look like on the outside. Let's collect a couple of those nuts now. Well, I mean, the open ones, we don't really need those, but the closed ones. So now we collected a couple nuts. We just need to find a rock. Here is a nice rock. And now we just need to put the nuts between the rock and the hard surface, right? So, as I said, the Juglans regia, basically the walnuts, once they are ripe, once the green rind has opened, you can harvest them until the next strong rain. After that they will rot. Why are they gonna rot? Because this little crack here will let in a lot of water. Then the water will be inside the shell, not able to evaporate, and the inside of the shell together with the edible seed or nut will rot. Well, Juglans nigra is a lot harder can see some crack here, but let's see if this crack goes all the way through or if the seeds have been protected. As you can see, no mold inside, and there is still edible seed. Not a very well developed seed. This is not a very well nourished. Well, it's called a nut, but it's actually a seed. Let's look for a better nourished one. Okay, this one didn't make it. Got moldy inside. Oh, this one too. This one is good again, but also not perfectly nourished. I mean, okay, after 8 months on the ground, well, you can expect most of them, actually all of them, to be rotten. Well, now we have like 50% good ones and 50% rotten ones. We're not gonna try the rotten ones, but let's try the good ones. As you can see, it's quite hard to remove the nut from the shell. Yeah, tastes more or less like walnuts, a little bit different in this typical black walnut taste. As I said, they are not being used for their nuts in Europe. Also, this is a very, very, very small variety. The fruit can get a lot bigger, but those are really tiny. So I guess this one was really not selectively bred for good nuts. So I guess in North America they might have some better ones, which are bigger, maybe easier to open and even tastier. Those are perfectly good. Well, if I could choose between a Persian walnut and the black walnut in autumn, of course, first I would harvest the Persian walnut. Most of the trees have bigger nuts with a thinner shell and are easier to open and clean. Most, not all. And also I know if I don't harvest the Persian walnut immediately, it will rot. But with this black walnut I have months before it will rot, so I have a lot of time for harvesting it. So folks, I don't think this is gonna replace the Persian walnut soon in Europe, but if you miss the walnut season and want to collect walnuts in winter or spring, walnut species like Juglans badjurica or catayedzis are very rare in Europe, basically only found in botanic gardens and arboretums. Juglans regia will rot away days or weeks after it gets ripe. So the only feasible option for the winter is harvesting some Juglans nigra from North America. Maybe they will start introducing better varieties which are not only used as ornamentals or for timber, but really selected for good nuts. Well, folks, this was walnut harvesting in June, in early summer. Stay tuned for more fruit videos from the beautiful parks and gardens of Germany. And don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe.